Mastering bodyweight exercises can be one of the most challenging and rewarding things you do in the gym. With that in mind, today we're going to go through 3 tips you can use to improve your pull-ups. Tip number 1 is to spend as much time on the pull-up bar as possible. This can be tricky if you're not quite ready to do a full pull-up yet, but there are plenty of other exercises you can use to bridge the gap. Our first exercise is a hanging knee raise. As the name suggests, you're going to be hanging from the bar, pulling the knees up and trying to just slightly tuck your hips under your body as you go. If you've got the mobility, you can straighten your legs out as well, although this will be a little bit harder. Our next exercise is a negative pull-up. This involves us starting at the top of the movement and lowering ourselves down to the bottom as slowly as we can. Our last exercise is an assisted pull-up. This one involves us using a resistance band either around the knee or the foot to help us into that pull-up position. This will allow us to get used to replicating the full movement. Tip number 2 is to make sure you dedicate enough time to your other pulling exercises. Pull-ups are great, but we also need to do movements where we're pulling horizontally to make sure that we sustain our shoulder health and cover all our bases with regards to our pulling strength. These 3 exercises involve us pulling weight towards us in a forwards and backwards motion rather than us pulling ourselves up and down on the pull-up bar. This allows us to get plenty of shoulder blade movement and build the muscles in between the shoulder blades. Tip number 3 is to make sure you look after your shoulder mobility. When we do any kind of pull-up, we're hanging with our arm up over our head. If you can't get into that position naturally, without there being any restrictions to your mobility, then you're going to have a hard time hanging your body weight off of that position. These exercises help us practice the movement of reaching up overhead, which allows us to improve our mobility in the shoulder joint and also the amount of movement in our shoulder blades to accommodate that.